Good morning. I'm meteorologist Kevin Smith at the National Weather Service in Pocatello with your weather hazard briefing for Tuesday, the first day of August. And we're going with a little bit more of a stormy theme here for our title slide. We do finally have some actual moisture that is moving into the region as the monsoon from the southwest arrives. So looking over the next few days here, again, that monsoon moisture is in the process of moving in. Actually, we're at a 72% relative humidity right now. Looking over at my side screen here, out here at the Pocatello airport, and very different than the numbers that we've been seeing the past few nights as we've had such a dry air mass in place. But that moisture is on its way in. It will fuel this trend into greater thunderstorm coverage, some heavier rainfall, and even some localized flash flood risk starting today and continuing over the next 2 days. So Tuesday into Wednesday into Thursday is our target period here. What is this going to look like? I'm going to try to show you, if my computer cooperates here, kind of a breakdown here in a minute. But in general, today and tonight, we're expecting the threat of those thunderstorms near and just to the south of Burley to Pocatello to Driggs, and then down to the Utah border. So particularly across the southern highlands, seeing the greatest coverage and risk of heavy rain today and tonight. As we go into early Wednesday morning, we're going to see those thunderstorms kind of dissolve into a broader area of rainfall with some embedded thunder, lots of shower activity. And that rain and thunderstorm activity is going to spread northward across most of the forecast area, eventually ending up in the Central Mountains and Island Park. So for Wednesday afternoon, that's the area where we're expecting that steadier rain. Again, some embedded thunder as well, but portions of the Central Mountains into the far upper Snake Plain, Fremont County, Island Park area, seeing that. And then behind it, some showers and storms look to redevelop across the rest of the forecast area, including the rest of the Snake Plain, the southern and eastern highlands, eastern Magic Valley during the afternoon. So the theme here is going to be starting in the south today, but then widespread activity on tap for Wednesday and also into Thursday with this moisture in place. On the temperature side of things, one more hot day today. Okay, we're at the end of the tunnel. We've got one more day of some very warm temperatures, including some 90s still in the forecast, but much cooler temperatures will kick things off Wednesday and continue into at least Thursday with all the cloud cover and the precipitation and moisture in place. So here's our weather risk outlook, very similar to what we've shown you the past couple mornings. Again, we kick things off today here with some isolated to scattered thunderstorm activity, focused especially across the south. Probably the South Hills here should also say some localized heavy rain. I think that entire southern corridor of terrain and then wrapping up toward the Driggs area will be under the gun here as we go into the afternoon and evening. Dry conditions, though, for the most part, as you head up toward the Central Mountains or Island Park. Wednesday and Thursday here are our two more widespread days for showers, thunderstorms, localized heavy rain region-wide. And we start to back off on that pattern just a touch for Friday and Saturday, but temperatures still running a bit cool. Still quite a bit of shower and thunderstorm activity out there, particularly during the afternoon periods on Friday and Saturday. Perhaps just not quite as organized and heavy as what we're expecting on Wednesday and Thursday. Satellite loop this morning showing, if you've been watching every morning to our briefing videos here, a little bit more cloud cover than we've been seeing the past couple mornings, indicative of that moisture starting to wrap in. If you follow the cloud motion here, wrapping up from the south into the eastern part of the state of Idaho here. Still pretty high up there, though. These are not low clouds, and we're generally not seeing precipitation out of them just yet. Again, things kick off this afternoon between about 1 and 3 p.m., again, particularly across the south. No watches, warnings, or advisories in effect this morning. We are monitoring to see if we can really zone in on some specific areas that have a greater risk of heavy rainfall and flooding. Whether or not we'll be able to try to issue a watch or some sort of product ahead of time on that remains to be seen. Just depends on where we can build confidence that we have a greater flood threat developing over a particular area. Of course, throughout the thunderstorms the next few days, we're going to be here 24/7 watching the radar, and we'll certainly issue warnings if needed for any flood threats. As you head out this morning, low temperatures shown here on the left. Again, 50s, 60s, very similar to what we've seen the past few days. High temperatures this afternoon, one more day of heat. So over here on the right, you can see we're getting up into the low 90s for most lower elevation areas, even up to Chalice, even up to Rexburg and Du Bois, of course, the Eastern Magic Valley, down into Raft River as well. 85 for Driggs, 87 for Stanley, 88 up in the Wood River Valley. Here's a look at the excessive rainfall outlook for Wednesday. When we say excessive, we're talking about flooding. We're talking about more rain coming down than is quite what we can handle with some of these thunderstorms. So where you see the green shading, which is essentially the entire forecast area, under a marginal risk of excessive rainfall, and then a slightly higher risk here, kind of bisecting the Snake Plain corridor, but certainly covering our southern and eastern highlands from Island Park, wrapping right down and around to the Burley area. This is our best shot on Wednesday of seeing some localized flooding, localized heavy rainfall out of some of these thunderstorms. Again, I don't have the graphic in here for today, but it's going to be south, generally from Burley to Pocatello to Driggs southward, with best chance of some of that heavier rainfall. Thursday, we tend to shift that threat a little further east, and we're talking generally along and east of I-15, seeing the best chance for some additional heavy rainfall and localized flood risk. Again, Thursday being our basically day 3 of this 3-day period of thunderstorm activity. I tossed this in. This is our river, our hydrograph for the Henry's Fork near Rexburg. And the blue line over here shows where the river is right now. It's running about 3.5 feet for its stage here, well below bankful conditions, which is up here at 9 feet. And then the dotted line is the forecast. And the reason I show this is 2 reasons. One, kind of indicates the heavy rainfall coming in. We're expecting roughly a 2-foot rise in the river by the time we get out to this weekend, as we start to see all that moisture run off into our main stem rivers. But you can see even with that rise, we are not expected to get anywhere near flood stage. So this is kind of the theme for all of our rivers. We're not expecting major river flooding out there. This event is just not long enough and not heavy enough to do that, particularly with how dry we've been lately. Our rivers are really not very full, close to flood stage here for this time of year. The flood threat is going to be more that localized heavy rainfall underneath some of our stronger thunderstorm cores. And we think storm motions today are going to be quite slow. So these thunderstorms that develop will be slow moving and tend to put down quite a bit of rain over a longer period of time over very localized areas. So that's kind of the nature of the threat that we're watching here. Before we look at temperatures for the rest of the week, I had some trouble this morning trying to load this natively into the presentation, so we're going to do this old school here. What I'm going to try to show you is a couple of our high-res models, and what these models are doing is they're trying to show us what they think the radar may look like over the next couple days here. So I'm going to pick one. You can see we have all sorts of models over here on the right-hand side. I'm going to pick one called the FV3, a couple things I want to show you on here. And if you can follow my cursor, hopefully it's showing up here in the video. This is the state of Idaho. Kind of outline it here for you in case it's hard to see here on the recording. We're going to advance to this afternoon to right about here. This is 3 p.m. this afternoon, and you can see initial thunderstorm development taking place here down across the southern highlands, not far from Burley and Pocatello. As I always caution you, again, this is a model. This is a computer model trying to guess at how things may shake out later, what the radar might look like. So don't read too closely into, oh, well, this little orange area is right south of Pocatello, and this one's just to the southwest of Burley. It doesn't know that for sure. It's, again, trying to give us the general flavor. So what we're reading from this is there's going to be a favored corridor here down across the south for thunderstorm development. As we go forward to 4 p.m., 5 p.m., 6 p.m., we continue to focus the best precipitation, the best thunderstorm activity this evening, generally to the south of the interstate corridor, although, again, Idaho Falls, Pocatello, Driggs, Burley, Twin Falls, you may be very close and may even get hit by a shower or thunderstorm this evening. Trending into the night, I'm going to advance forward a ways, and eventually you can kind of see some of this activity starting to lift. This is actually 2 a.m. as we go into tomorrow morning, Wednesday morning. Some of this activity trying to lift northward, and as we advance a little bit further here, You can see this expanding trend to the precipitation, and you can really see it filling in across central and northern portions of the forecast area. We're now around 1 p.m. early Wednesday afternoon. So over the course of Wednesday morning toward the early afternoon, seeing that activity moving north and expanding. And later Wednesday afternoon, you can see, though, some additional thunderstorm activity developing back here to the south across the southern highlands, maybe near Pocatello, out into Caribou County, for example. Again, just looking at the general trends, the general flavors here shown by the model. Some of the models are a little quicker and a little heavier with bringing kind of this widespread precipitation northward. So if I switch over to another model here, and we're going to back up, this is daybreak Wednesday morning. Going forward to 7 a.m., 8 a.m., 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 11 a.m., noon Wednesday. You can see kind of a broader area of rainfall still hammering the Snake Plain, supposedly by about noon on Wednesday. And then as we go into the afternoon, shifting further north, covering portions of the Central Mountains and some heavier echoes here simulated up across the far northeast here into the Island Park region. So that's the general idea we're expecting over the next 48 hours or so with this precipitation. And from this, certainly looks like everyone has a shot at getting rainfall at some point, but only certain spots that see repetitive thunderstorms or slow-moving thunderstorms will really be in line for that excessive rainfall, that flood risk. It's certainly not going to be widespread out there. With this all going on, look at the temperatures we are headed for on Wednesday and Thursday. Over here on the left, highs on Wednesday, only topping out at their warmest afternoon values in the 70s for most areas. Sorry, Burley, 81 for you down there in the Eastern Magic Valley, 78 for Pocatello, 74 up in Island Park. This is a world of difference over the hot pattern that we've been seeing as of late. It's going to feel very refreshing for anyone who was looking for a little break. Over here on the right, very similar values as we head into Thursday. Maybe some low 80s into the Eastern Magic Valley, maybe 80 for Pocatello, but most of the region topping out during the afternoon in the 70s. Driggs, 69, currently your forecast high temperature for Thursday. And we'll see these temperatures start to tick up just a little bit warmer again as we inch forward to finish out the week and head into the weekend. So hopefully that was helpful. There's a broad breakdown of kind of what we're expecting here with this monsoon push of moisture. As always, we're here 24/7 if you have questions, comments, concerns. And then, like I said, we will certainly be watching all of this activity. And if we see flood threats developing, even if there's no watch out ahead of time, we'll certainly be trying to issue flood warnings or flash flood warnings for those locations. Everyone stay safe out there and have a great Tuesday.